Well, folks, it's Charlotte, and the Raptors are a half game up for the final playoff spot against the Chicago Bulls. And interesting, Eric, when we landed a week ago tonight after the Minnesota game, you and I both looked at each other. I think we both put it up on our social media, up on the Twitter, said, the next 4 games, what do you got? And right now, the Raptors haven't got any, and it's killing them.
Yeah, it is killing them, and unfortunately, I mean, let's even look past the Utah game. They got completely dismantled by the Jazz. You go to the final shot of the game against Denver after blowing the lead and having a terrible fourth quarter. Then against Miami, you have a fantastic third. You build up a 17-point lead with 5 minutes to go. You're still up by 10 going into the fourth quarter, and for the second straight night, have a brutal fourth quarter. It used to be that the third quarter was the Raptors' nemesis. Well, at least in 2 straight games, the fourth quarter has let them down. They've shot under 35% in both of those quarters and scored under 20 points in both of those fourth quarters. So that has been the undoing. Those were 2 games that you sit here now and say woulda, coulda, shoulda, but they're in the loss column, 2 games below 500 now. And I said this to you yesterday, and it rings even more true now, Jonesy. They can't worry anymore about 7th, about 6th, about 5th. That's done.
They're in a fight for 8th.
If you happen to get one of those seeds when all shakes out, fine. But right now, it's all about 8 and 8 alone. A half-game lead. This thing is it's coming unraveled.
And the other thing that we need to talk about, it's out there in all the dailies and out there, and people are chatting about it, is the Hedo Turkoglu situation. The fact that he did not play last night in Miami. He was benched by head coach Jay Triano. And when asked about it after the game, Jay said, well, it was part health related in terms of Hedo because he missed the second half of Friday's game with a stomach ailment. And it was part disciplinary to, quote, send a message. And, you know, people will question the timing of it. Should it have been done earlier? People ask questions about, well, has this been an ongoing thing? I mean, there's lots of questions in there, Eric. I would say you do it whenever you feel it's necessary to do it, whether it's at the beginning of the year, the end of the year, whenever. And in terms of the lifestyle thing with Hedo, look, there are guys famous. We're going to see Larry Brown tonight. There are guys famous for being out all night and blowing off shoot-around like Allen Iverson, but yet coming out and giving you 30 and 40 points and a full-out effort. If that's the way it goes, fine. I don't care if Eric's up all night. If he shows up to the broadcast and he does his job, then we're good. I don't care what else. But if staying up all night is making him sound terrible on the broadcast, then we have an issue.
Well, and now to me there are, at least in my opinion, Jonesy, there are 2 separate issues as well. If Turkoglu is out all night and if he's a man about town and whatever else, and that has affected his performance this year, then yeah, that's one thing, and maybe you could have taken him out of the starting lineup, or maybe you reel in his minutes a little bit more. That's something that maybe could have been done 10, 20, 30, 40 games ago, if that's the case. To me, this is a separate issue in that you missed a game because you were sick. Now, if you're sick, then you're supposed to be home getting healthy. If you can't take part in practice because you're sick, then if it's true, according to the reports and some of the speculation, that he was out at various bars or enjoying the nightlife when he was missing team functions being practices and games, that to me is a different story than, well, I party and maybe I don't have enough left in the tank for the game the next night. Well, you're still playing, you're still there. But if you're out because you're sick and then you're still enjoying the social life, that to me is a different story. That to me is a different story, and that's why I kind of hesitate to criticize Jay for waiting until game 72 of the season to send the message, because this to me is a different message. It's the message that you can't miss games and practices saying that you're sick and then go out and enjoy the life. It's one or the other.
And it reeks of the kid that stays home from school but yet suddenly gets well at 4 o'clock. And I see where you're coming from. The other part of this too is it a motivational thing? I mean, Hedo has not had a good year all year, in spite of being sick and missing the last few games. This has been an ongoing issue for him, his play, and the inconsistency of his play, and maybe not the level that the Toronto Raptors were looking for from him all year. Again, Eric, that is a separate issue, and the fact that you have him locked up for the next 4 years with a whole lot of money, this thing has to be resolved. All that being said, I think everybody will forget about it or push it to the background if they're able to come out and get a win tonight. And their offensive execution for a team that's one of the top 10 in scoring had better be good tonight, because Charlotte is a great defensive team. They're typical of Larry Brown teams. They play hard and they play together,
especially at home,
and they get better at the end of the year.
They've only lost 8 games at home this season, and they've got 13 straight games where they've held opponents under 100 points. So it's going to be tough on a back-to-back. And if you're sitting here right now saying, well, yeah, but what about Turkoglu tonight? We don't know. No game day shoot-around today, which is normally the case on a back-to-back, on the second half of a back-to-back. So we won't find out until we get to the arena, probably an hour, maybe a half hour before game time tonight, what the deal is with Turkoglu. A, if he's going to play at all. B, if he's back in the starting lineup. Or if Triano sticks with the same starting 5 that has played well, very well in the last 2 games, but obviously not well enough to secure victories in either one.
All right, folks, it's a little bit later than usual, but it is lunchtime.
Yes.
And that means time to eat. Tune in tonight. We'll have all the drama for you, all the action. We'll give you the facts, and we'll give you everything that we know when we get a chance on the radio tonight.